All right, good morning. Welcome to the Big Agent Meeting. My name is Russ Laggan. I will be your host today. Today is November 14th, and if you guys haven't figured out, Turkey Day is only about a week and a half away, so get your turkey now. Get it in the fridge and get it thawing now because it always takes way more time than they tell you it takes to get your turkey thawed. So with that said, this week has been an exciting week. We've got a couple of really cool things coming in today. We've got Holly Mabery talking about AI and the new adjustments to the listing agreement. And we've got Brian Ellington talking in the lab with Minda talking about Zillow Flex. That's going to be a great conversation. You want to make sure you guys get your hands on. And then, of course, we got a couple of other things that we do here today every single week to make sure you guys know what's going on within the EXP super system that we're running right now. So let's kick it off today with Traction Advantage right out of the gate. Today, I want to talk to you guys briefly about what I've done this week. And it's something that you guys should be doing all the time to be able to get better at doing attraction. And what is that? And by the way, I know Holly Mabery's doing this too today, face-to-face with live human beings. And you might be saying, but Russ, you're a cloud brokerage. Yeah, we're a cloud brokerage. And I will tell you what, there is nothing that substitutes getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly, hugging people and loving on people. I started off this week by flying into San Diego, drove up to Del Mar, did an event for Diane Mills and Matt Battiata. Great setup there. Did a little video out of the little winery that we did the event at. That was a ton of fun. And then I jumped up to Paso Robles, which I just learned how to say correctly yesterday for the first time, because I always called it Paso Robles. And it's Paso Robles, according to the locals. So Paso Robles and did an event for Shireen Duncan and Michelle there. Super great. They opened their home, had a bunch of agents that weren't EXP agents in the room. And we talked to them about how to sell more houses and live a better life, having more fun. And of course, then Thursday, here we are. I did the event in local here at the local show. We had an old movie theater. I was on a big stage in an old movie theater with a lot of lights, and it was a ton of fun. And that was for John Foster and Lindsay, and of course, Saba. My favorite guy in the world, gave him one of my books. Cool dude. So I want to say thank you for each and every one that had me out at events this week. And of course, I'm finishing off by jumping in an airplane and flying home today. It's Friday. I'm done. But it made a difference by getting belly to belly. So when in doubt, get out there and touch some people and get face to face, and it will make your world a better place. I'm actually in the office just outside of San Francisco in Castro Valley right now, shooting Big Agent Meeting, getting ready to go out the door and jump on an airplane. All right, so with that said, let's kick it over to Ian Wheatley, KGCI. What's going on at KGCI? Ian, take it away, brother.
Good morning. Thanks, Russ, and it's good to see you back. If ramping up your 2026 business planning is making you rethink your content game, that's good. That's the point. Because maybe you've been sitting here on the sidelines telling yourself that you're just not a content person, or you'll post more when you have listings. But content isn't about being loud. It's about being present. And right now, the agents who stay visible, they're the ones who stay booked. That's why today's Friday Focus is built for the agents who'd rather crush it quietly. So let's call it introvert-friendly branding, how to build a presence without being loud. You'll learn how to build a brand and build trust without ever oversharing, create content that feels natural, not forced, and use tools that will do that heavy lifting for you. All of it is dropping inside of the KGCI Real Estate On-Air mobile app for iPhone and Android. It's live, free, made for working agents just like you and me. Download it now or stream the Friday Focus at realestateonair.fm or catch it on demand this weekend, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. No noise, just results with you and KGCI. Real Estate On Air.
All right, there you go. Ian Wheatley, always with a great update. Don't you love that guy's voice? It's like he's built for radio, baby. It's built for radio. All right, next up, we have the one and only Holly Mabery out of Houston, Texas, showing up at NAR, getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly there. Holly Mabery, what do you got lined up for us today?
There's been so much happening in the market right now that we wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, we're taking care of you so you can take the best possible care of our clients. And what that means is updating our forms from time to time. So right now, AI, everybody's talking about it. And what this means to your listings, and more importantly, your sellers, yeah, we've got your back. So we've updated the listing agreement. But even before that, I want to go back to September. And so in September, we updated our policies and procedures to basically talk about the use of AI or artificial intelligence, what it looks like, and what expectations are. And I've got a copy right here of the policies and procedures right here on this QR code. So take a look at them. But if you look at the policies and procedures section, it basically outlines a few things that I want you to be aware of and how we go forward. First, we need to disclose to a client when they're interacting with the chatbot on behalf of the agent. That should be very, very clear. Like a lot of you have this on your websites and things of that nature, but also any advertising generated or assisted by AI, you've got to comply with truth in advertising, fair housing, and state specific regulations. Now, this is what's interesting. Across the United States, we're tracking about 15 to 16 laws that are being proposed to change how we interact with AI. And it's on everything from rentals to basically photos and disclosing around photos. So let's talk about a little bit more regarding our listing agreement. So the exclusive authorization and right to sell is currently live in SkySlope. This is our updated agreement, and you can find it there. What I love about this form is we've tried to think of everything that you might need. This is a story that you walk through. Each paragraph is how you would explain your services to a seller and really customize to their need. And what's so important is we hit those highlights, but then we start talking about like what it means to have a lockbox and what it means to have photos and work with people coming into your home. This is the section that we just added, and it's specifically to AI. That, hey, AI may be used to enhance your marketing services. This could be anything from the listing description. It could be anything around your photos, right? We've had those professional photographers come out and they use AI and they actually put a fire in the fireplace. Okay, cool. It's the middle of summer. Not really lighting a fire, but there you go. But they also, I know I use a lot of virtual staging companies, especially if I've got a floor plan that when you're in it without furniture feels odd. So using those virtual staging, great, it's AI. Well, because what we're seeing is the use of AI is really expanding. And I was actually out looking at houses this last week. I was online, looking at the house online, and I was looking at this property and the backyard landscaping. I'm like, oh, that's nice. It looks like it's landscaped. Well, I get there with the client. We walk through the house. It's new construction, front yard, beautifully landscaped. Like it's all in, it's pristine. We walk out to the backyard and this property's on an acre. It's not fenced. There's no landscaping. In fact, it's bare dirt and rock and holes and everything else. Literally, they spent all the money from the back patio forward to the street, and they wanted $1 million for it. I say this to you out of extreme caution because my buyer looked at me and went, wow, this is going to be a lot of money to landscape. And I said, yeah, it's going to be about $100,000 depending on what you do, because you've got to level things out in dirt. They didn't have any of the photos where they had put in AI landscaping in the backyard labeled properly. So the buyer misunderstood, and the photos were so well done, I couldn't tell the difference. So I share this with you out of an abundance of caution. Now, that's the first part of Section 11. Basically, we want to disclose to sellers, hey, what we're going to do, and we're going to run it by you, and you're going to be able to see it. But then the other piece on this is that we have to make sure that we're disclosing, but once it goes out into the internet, we may not be able to control how AI could be manipulating their photos. And so there's some websites out there, I can take a photo off the internet, and let's say there's shag carpet or there's weird shiplap on the walls or terrible wallpaper. I can upload that photo and I can recast what that floor plan could look like, what that house could look like with modern updates. This is a real convenient thing for buyers or interior designers. But if in the wrong hands, it goes the opposite way and it's not a true representation of that property, we have an issue. And that's the new law that's coming into effect in California later at the start of the new year, where you have to disclose. So I want you to really focus on what you can control and best practices. So I want you to leverage AI and save time, of course. But this is one of those photos that I absolutely loved. And big shout out to James Adams, one of our agents in Sedona, Arizona. I said, hey, we're at this conference, and I said, do you have a listing where you've got virtual staging? And he said, absolutely, send it over. You can see this living and dining room virtually staged. This was off the listing that he sent me. I screenshot it from my phone so I could share it with you here. Now, I also want you to show both the original photo and the virtually staged photo. And you can see that here, and put them next to each other as people are working through the listing, right? It's swipe right, swipe left. Are you keeping the listing? Or are you moving on? That's what's so important here. When people walk into the house, you want them to go, wow, this is exactly like I thought. I even went so far when I actually sold the house I grew up in, because the living room was a little funky. I had it virtually staged. I had the photos labeled and did all of those things. But then I blew up the virtually staged photos and put them on foam core. And I had those on actual easels in the house. So when people walked in and the space felt funny and it's like, wait a minute, where was the couch? They could see it from the photo that was big in the living room. Is it overkill? No, it was my mom and dad, and I wanted to sell their house. So those are the priorities I want you to think of. So the exclusive authorization and right to sell, I really want to encourage you all, please use the EXP listing agreement. Most of our state and local forms are not addressing AI at all. I did a lot of calls with different state AEs and reaching out, and I just said, hey, are you updating and are you including artificial intelligence and photos as part of disclosures to sellers? And they said no. And I went, that's not good enough for us. We do better than that. So please consider using this, and it's good for both realty as well as commercial. It's a great disclosure for the seller, and we know it's just the tip of the iceberg. As we go into this new way of doing business, we're going to continue to evolve. And what I promise you is this: every form we do, we really try to vet, we take forward, we work with our legal department, we work with our AACs to give us feedback, our large producing agents, and we want to hear from you. If there's something in the form that you're not quite sure of, please reach out, send me a Slack, because we are always in beta, as Glenn and Leo say, and we're always refining and getting better for you. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right, there you go. Holly Mabery, always bringing you the good stuff and lots of details. AI and what they're doing with AI within the listing agreement. So information you guys need to know. Thank you, Holly, as always, for being on the front line of making sure you understand what we're doing and what we need to do to stay compliant and make sure our teams are always way out ahead with the things that they should be doing anyway in every other brokerage around the country. So thank you very much for that. All right, so next up, we have the agent advantage. They're going to talk about BuildASign. If you guys don't know about BuildASign, take it away. BuildASign.
Hey y'all, my name is Nathan Miller and I work with BuildASign. I'm the account manager for EXP, and honestly just really enjoy working with the company. I don't know if any of y'all were at EXPCon this year, but it was really exciting to see a lot of the growth and then a lot of the new rollouts that are coming. As part of how we serve EXP, BuildASign operates a brand store for all of your print marketing needs. And we work hand in hand with the corporate team to make sure that y'all have the most up-to-date logos available so that y'all can grow your business. So I'm going to share the site real quick. If you haven't been here before, it's exp.buildasign.com. And I really recommend that you sign in to your passport or Okta when you're on the site. That makes sure any promo will definitely count. And then it'll also allow you to, if you're eligible for your new agent starter kit, to take advantage of your new agent starter kit. A lot of these are just the basic pieces. What I really wanted to talk to you today, it's a little bit what I shared last time, but like expanding more on it, is that one of the big differences that I see over the last year of reviewing orders and working with different agents is that the really successful agents at EXP, the icon agents, are the ones that have the most unified brand across their digital and marketing assets. So what that means is like their signs, their business cards, their flyers, their door hangers match what you're going to see on the web, what you're going to see on their email signatures, that they have one large unified go-to-market with how they present themselves. Some present themselves in more of a luxury way. Others, kind of based on their community, present themselves more in like a warm way, where it's just really happy and greeting, because that's the environment that they want to create with their potential clients. with that, one thing that I have seen in the market that's really evolving, and this is based on working with realtors, but this is also based on working with business owners, is there is a pendulum shift or a pendulum change where previously, and a lot of this I think was due to COVID, previously a lot of the marketing investment dollars were going to digital ads. Now we're seeing that some of that spend is now being back reallocated to out-of-home marketing. And so that's, we already have signs, but then that's also business cards, folders, retractable banners for when you're doing a pop-up event, as well as flyers and door hangers. And the reason why is the quality of lead is different. So when you're doing a very localized to your space type of, when you're doing it to your space, where you have a lot of your clients and a lot of your leads and a lot of your homes, then the type of person that is receiving that information is already localized, and that does a lot of the work for you. So for instance, here's the door hangers. Right now you'll see there's a promo that is active for 25% off paper and promo that you can use, as well as 60% off signs. I will share that promo at the end. But the reason why this is important is because you are able to, one, establish a physical presence in your market. And so you're reaching all the people that aren't on the web necessarily or being targeted by your ads. And so, like I said, I see this in real estate, but I also see this really prevalent in different franchise brands as well. Just so you can have an understanding, here are the different items that are available for you to be able to use for that. Additionally, I shared this a little bit last time, but a few agents I've seen have used signs fairly creatively. They're not just using it for open houses, and they're not just using it for sale signs or for rent signs. They're also uploading their own design here, and they're using it to advertise their services. So they'll have their face, they'll have, hey, I'm a realtor, and they'll also have their phone number that you can get in contact with. And what this has done is it's created, and they'll emphasize it in the markets that they're in, and they'll put them in areas where there's a lot of like either one, foot traffic, or two, car traffic. So they're always seeing their face. Clients are always seeing their face and attached to real estate. You can do this. You can upload part of these, upload your designs, and you can see this is how much they would cost with the promo code, the Black Friday promo code. Part of the reason why this is valuable is it creates recognition. It creates brand recognition throughout the market. And I didn't really think about it until I saw it, but it makes sense. You don't need to have a house for sale or open house going to advertise your services. So this is just something I wanted to pass on to you. For the flash sale or the Black Friday sale, the code is 60 EXP Black Friday 26, and that's 60% off signs, and that's also 25% off marketing. We were really excited that we got to do EXP Con, and hopefully we were able to get to meet you. But between myself and then there's also a few other people working the account, we love working with EXP, and we hope that you're able to find what you need to grow your business. Thank you.
All right, so there you go. BuildASign. If you guys haven't used them, haven't been around them, make sure you grab them and use them. They do a great job for us, and EXP has secured you guys an amazing discount to make sure you get the best value and the best stuff at the best price. Well, I should do a commercial for them. All right, next up, we have highlights from Brian and Minda Co. talking about Zillow Flex and what's going on with Zillow Flex. So Brian, Minda, take it away.
Most of the time you're getting a live transfer call then. And having talked to a number of Zillow Flex agents, I've never been one myself, by the way. So I'm learning. There's a good deal of those calls where when the rep tries to transfer over, there's nobody there anymore. Does that happen to you pretty frequently?
It can. It can. I think sometimes in those situations, there's been agents that got frustrated with that. And I don't get frustrated with that because I just look at it as this system is sometimes not very clear. They think, oh, I'm just trying to get information, and maybe they clicked on it and they didn't mean to click on it, or they have an agent and they just realized, oh, that's not what I meant to do. So a lot of those, I just think they're trying to figure out the system. And if they're not available, it just means that, it's not a loss. Don't look at it as a loss. So I lost that connection or that call. It's just they're trying to kind of navigate it on their end as a consumer and figure it out. And most of the time when they've done that, they're like, I didn't mean to do that. So
Okay.
I actually like it when it happens, because I know that if they truly want to connect with somebody, they're going to call back and connect, versus it being, oh, let me transfer them to Minda. Let me just give you an example on that, not to interject, but we listened to a call. The agent gets through halfway through the call and he's asking the ALM questions. And when he's trying to kind of nail down the motivation, she says, well, my client wants to see this. And he goes, hold on. He goes, you said client? Are you the buyer? And she said, no, I'm a real estate agent. So here was an inexperienced real estate agent using the Zillow system to try to make a connection. So yeah. And that happens sometimes, right?
Oh,
So
yeah, sure. Yeah, unfortunately, this industry does take all kinds. So yeah, I bet. So when this warm transfer comes over, what's the first part of your script? What's the first words out of your mouth?
My first words are, hi, this is Minda with Call Group Residential. I understand that you're interested in looking at 123 Main Street. When were you hoping to take a look at it?
Can I ask you, and again, I'm going to ask detailed questions. There's no right or wrong answers. You're obviously doing pretty well for yourself. So, but I know a lot of agents, when they begin their script, they say, you're Zillow Flex or Zillow Premier agent, but you don't say that, or do you say that later on? And I'm curious why.
Yes. So I guess when I first started, I think that started, since I'm one of the older ones, I think that change kind of started. So it's always stuck with me because I've said my brokerage versus, said I'm a Zillow Premier agent. I know some of the newer trained agents do that, but that is something that I later on in that secondary call will explain in more detail. So most of the time, I find, Brian, by the time we get to the end of the call, they don't even, especially a name like Minda, they haven't even remembered my name, let alone that they're confused who I'm with, where it is. So I kind of hold that for a later conversation.
From a practical standpoint, tactics, scripting, phrasing, attitude, all those kinds of things. What did you notice about the difference between the good calls versus the bad calls?
I love that you're asking this question, because the one thing that was really apparent is the energy. We have 90 seconds, right? 90 seconds to set the appointment, find out their motivation, and, ask about other properties, the ALM. So when we're doing that, there's hesitation sometimes in just their initial introduction. And I was like, oh, that's a simple fix, right? Like they just need some confidence in that. So I think that's really just was surprising that they're taking some of these agents, these newer agents, they're so stressed about, am I hitting all the points, that they're not even bringing that energy in that initial just introduction of themselves. So I think that was pretty apparent today. I can't remember. What is your initial question?
I want to ask you about that, because I think you're right. You're trying to build rapport in a 90-second phone call or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is there something practical and tactical you can do to amp up your energy? Is there something that you do that makes you come across more energetic or friendly or more rapport worthy?
Well, one of the newer agents on our team that has had tremendous success in the last 2 years that she's been on the team, she was talking about how when she first did this, she would walk around with a Post-it note on, no matter where she was, it was in her purse. Because when we get these calls, we could be in the grocery store, we could be at dinner, you never know when it's going to land, but you've got to know it like the back of your hand. And she said, I literally just had this Post-it note, and it brought back memories, because I remember doing that. Like I needed to know that script inside and out, whether that was role playing or doing that. And you have to be able to take those calls while you're driving, while you're at the grocery store, and having that. So I just think nailing that script, and the more confident that you get in it, then that energy is going to project, right? Because if you're not confident in that script, I think you're going to have that hesitation, like, oh no, I got this Zillow call versus I got this call, right? Like, I don't care if I'm in the checkout line, at the grocery store, like I can take this call. And it's funny, when we were doing it, some of the agents are like, I knew exactly where I was when I took that call. Same with my call. I was like, oh, I was actually at dinner with my husband when I took that call. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'm kind of curious, beyond the energy, are there things in the scripting? Because it's a pretty well-defined script, at least, when you go through the Zillow Academy and all, it's ALM. Here's the script, and practice and do it. Is there something that you bring to that script, though, that's aside from energy, that's different?
I don't know if there's anything I do different. I try to know it and know it with confidence. Like, I could say it right now just to know it, right? And with that, naturally becomes you have the confidence, right? You're not nervous about it. You have it. And then I think what we called today, like the sprinkles that add kind of your personal touch. Like, one of the things that I guess I do, and I didn't even realize I do, when I ask about the time, I'll say, Brian, you're looking to see this property at 123 Main Street at 4:00 today. Does that time still work for you? And they'll say yes. The next thing that I say is, let me check with the sellers to see if that time will work. Do you have any flexibility in case it doesn't? I've always just said that, didn't even realize I was saying that. And so many people today were like, oh, I like the way you phrase that. Didn't know I was doing it different than anyone else, but I think you just start to become really confident with it, that you can just add some personal touches to it that allows you to realize, hey, I've done this enough where I've taken this call where they want 4:00 on a Saturday, and 9 times out of 10, it may not be available. So I better have a backup. So that just became an easy way, a part of my script to go, I just learned, let me find out if there's a second time so that I'm well prepared for when I come back to them for that second call.
Is that generally the outcome when you ask that question, that they give you like alternate backup times?
Usually I've learned to ask for that, so they will, or they'll give me, oh, well, we just put in 4:00, but we could actually do anything in the afternoon, or we actually have time on Sunday. So I've learned that if you don't ask, they won't just give it to you proactively, but if you ask, they generally have some flexibility with it. And it makes things on my end, because I'm trying to keep them to the schedule, but I may have a conflict. So asking them ahead of time allows me some flexibility in working that to the seller's schedule and my schedule.
All right. So there you go, Brian. Awesome. Great clips. Guys, that's the highlights from the session that they did. If you want to see the rest of the session, make sure you jump on EXP's YouTube channel. You can just go to YouTube, type in EXP Live, type in EXP Minda Co, C-O-E, and you'll be able to jump into the full interview if you want to watch the rest of that and get the rest of the details on what's going on. Zillow Flex World, they're making changes all the time with that. So make sure you get a chance to take a look at that. All right. So next up, we have the one and only Alyssa Specht talking University Spotlight. Alyssa, take it away.
What's up, big agent meeting? Alyssa Specht here with your weekly University Spotlight. And guys, this next week is a blend of creative tools, of leadership systems, and some conversion strategy that you can start applying into your business right away. So let me tell you what's coming up. Starting with Monday, we have Level Up with Lynn Miller and Kennedy Jones. Kennedy Jones from Canva. And you don't need to be a designer to look like a pro. This session will prove that to you. They're going to walk you through how to use Canva's newest tools, where to find EXP exclusive templates, and what's coming up with the Canva Future Training Series. So you do not want to miss that. Again, that's Monday on Level Up. Then let's take a look at Tuesday. We've got another amazing AI accelerator, and we're about to flip the switch on your CRM. So this session is called AI plus CRM, from CRM to ATM. We're going to dig into how to automate relationship building, the power of platforms like Lofty and Bold Trail, and turning your database into a deal generating machine. Make sure that you go on to expuniversity.com to get registered for that. You do not want to miss that. Then let's take a look over to Thursday. We have another executive masterclass with Susan McLean. My friends, she is EXP's organizational growth strategist, and she's laying down the framework for running a high functioning, high retention organization. So she's covering the 3 pillars of success: attraction, productivity, and retention. If you are leading a group, if you are building your downline, or you just want to support agents at a deeper level, this session is for you. All right, and then we're looking at Friday. We're back again with another big agent meeting. Every Friday, we bring the same promise. You bring the coffee, we'll bring the value. Guys, we're going to bring you what you actually need every single Friday. So again, make sure that BAM is on your calendar, and I'll see you there. But we're not done then. Still on Friday, we have the Lab podcast, this time with Dan Rashawn. So he's going to show us how to build lead funnels that actually convert, how to attract clients through education, and turn authentic relationships into repeat business. So guys, we have an amazing week coming up for you. Make sure that you block the time on your calendar, tag your team, and I'll see you there.
Okay, there you go. Alyssa, always making sure you guys know what's going on. Man, there's a ton of stuff going on at university. And heck, I know we're doing fast track round 3 actually going on officially now this week, next week, and the week after, going to the end of the year with that. So university is always bringing you guys the best stuff and the greatest, the latest and greatest on what you need to know, training and teaching stuff. All right, so there you go. That is the show for today, November 14th, Friday. And with that said, check out the QR code. Give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know how we did with the show today. If we added value, you got something you can put in your repertoire today, make sure you give us a good rating and let us know also if there's something you want to see different or change. We're always open to suggestions. So we appreciate you guys giving us your feedback every single week on that. So thank you very much. All right. So there you go. That is all for this week. We got a lot of great stuff going. And by the way, a lot more great stuff coming up next week. My name is Russ Laggan. This is Big Agent Meeting. Stay tuned for iConversations coming up next.